YouTube, what's good? We're back in this thing. Today we're going to be going over this CC scale wipe, stretch transition, and effect. I've seen it done in a lot of music videos, and it's really cool. A lot of different uses you can do with it. I've seen it used as a transition between two clips. I've seen it done as just like a way to like rotoscope out a subject and stretch it in. I'll be going over a few of them. I'm just going to freestyle it in this video. I saw some clips that I thought would look pretty cool with the effect on it, so I'm going to try it out. Before we get into the video, if you're new here, what I do is a lot of music video effect tutorials, vlogs now, and just a bunch of stuff in the hip hop and creative scene. So if you're interested in any of that, be sure to subscribe, because over 60, I think it's 5% of you guys are not actually subscribed. My goal for the end of the year of 2021 is to hit 100,000 subscribers. So if you're not subscribed, go ahead and do so. It's free. If you enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy a lot of my other videos. I upload Monday, Wednesday, Friday. There's bound to be another tutorial that you're gonna like or a vlog that you'll like. Also, let's go for 500 likes, 100 comments in this video. Take a second. It really does help support me as a creator, and it really does push my content to other people that want to see it. That would be greatly appreciated. If you want to support the channel even more, you can go over to briandelmata.com and check out my texture pack. It helps you get the Og Lone Wolf style paper rip effects and transitions, as well as now I have a thermal pack, and I'm going to be releasing a lot more digital products soon. So go over there, check it out. You'll get some really high quality digital products, as well as support me as a creator. Also, we just hit 5,000 followers on Instagram, so if you're interested, I post stories on there daily. Just a good way to interact with me and send me a DM and ask me some questions or just chat or whatever. But yeah, that's enough talking. Let's get into the video, break down this effect. All right, now that we're in After Effects, I'm just gonna find some clips that I think would be a pretty cool transition. Watching the music video, this shot right here stuck out to me. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is go to the first frame of this clip, click Ctrl-Shift-D while selected on the clip, and it's gonna split it. And then I'm gonna go to the last frame in here and then split it by using Ctrl-Shift-D. And then I'm just gonna zoom in here and go to Effects and Presets and type in CC scale wipe. The first thing I'm gonna do is I thought this would be pretty cool if like the ground kind of like wiped up. You'll see what I mean in a second. So I'm going to bring this to negative number, and then I'm also going to bring it to 0 for the direction. That way it kind of goes down instead of to the side. And I'm just going to make it kind of crazy right now so I can keyframe the center. We're going to start up a little bit higher actually, and then go like halfway through. I try not to add a lot of keyframes so it doesn't jitter a lot, but you do want to, if you're doing like the floor or something, want to keep it consistent where it's at. And then I'm going to go to the last frame and bring it to this door. So that way it's like throughout the whole effect, it's level with this horizontal plane right here. And you can see what that looks like. It already looks pretty cool. There's obviously not any motion on it, and it's just stretched down. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is go to keyframe the stretch. I'm going to find a value that I like. It was kind of just a placeholder at 30. I think something like 23 looks pretty cool. And then I'm going to go to the last frame and make it maybe not 0, but something a little bit close to it, like -5 or something. Then I'm going to go ahead and expand this, go to Effects, and expand the keyframes, move it to the last frame, just make sure everything's right. And then on the stretch keyframes, I'm going to highlight both of them and click F9. What that's going to do is ease them, so it's going to make it a little smoother. And watching that through, that looks pretty cool. Some things I do to make it look a little bit better is highlight both the keyframes and then go into the graph editor. You can see right here. Then once you're in the graph editor, you can play with it however you want. I kind of gave it this little point, so it's stretched this whole time, and then it's fastly becomes unstretched, so it kind of has like a bounce effect almost. And I think that looks pretty cool as an effect for something really simple. This one's kind of like a motion track floor to like horizontal plane effect. I think it's a cool way to add a little bit of variety into your shots, and it's pretty simple. Next effect I'm going to be going over is this shot of these cars here. I just thought it was pretty cool, and I think the scale wipe effect looks good when there's like some movement in the clip, so it kind of zooms out, so like the scale stretch will like move with it, if that makes sense. You'll see in a second. And we're going to go and split it here just like we did last clip. And with this one, I'm actually going to rotoscope out cars and show you a different way of adding an effect to it. So I'm just going to rotoscope out the cars here. Like I always say, the first frame you do the rotoscope on, the better you do, the better it will look, and it's going to be easier to track. If you mess up, you can hold Alt and remove some of the spots. It's kind of weird with the shadow here, if you can see. So I'm just going to do a kind of rough job of this just for tutorial sake. But like I said, the better you do, the better it will look. And if it's an actual music video, I'd recommend spending a little bit more time. You can go frame by frame. I'm just going to go ahead and press play real quick and see how good of a job it does. And you can see it kind of messes up here. It's not the biggest deal for this tutorial sake, but I would definitely spend a little bit more time going through and making sure it looks good. I'm just going to fix it up a little bit so it doesn't look as bad. But with this effect, honestly, you can kind of get away with a little bit more of a rough rotoscope. Then once you've gone through and done every single frame, go ahead and click freeze. What that's going to do is lock in your roto brush. You're not going to be able to change it anymore unless you unfreeze it, but it's also going to mask out your subject. So you'll see here in a second, if I go ahead and click close on the layer up here, that's going to bring it to the normal clip, and you can see our car cutout. It's a little rough and glitchy, but for the sake of tutorial, it's fine. Obviously do a better job on yours. And if you need to tweak anything, you can go ahead and go to feather the edges a little bit. I'm going to bump it up just a little bit because I did a kind of a rough job. I use shift edge a lot sometimes. If it's a little bit, you can see like the outline of stuff. I'm going to actually bump up the shift edge a bit, but for right now that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that layer by clicking Ctrl D and removing the roto brush from the bottom layer. And then the top layer is the roto brush layer and the bottom layer is just the normal clip. And then for this effect, I'm going to use CC scale wipe again. This is going to be all using CC scale wipe. Go ahead and change the direction to 0. I'm going to use the center point kind of right at the base of the cars, and then I'm going to drag it up, and you can see it kind of has this cool stretch effect. I'm going to go right before it kind of starts making sense. So there's still that shadow there. Obviously, it's going to be different for every single clip. And then I'm also going to keyframe the stretch and the center here. Go halfway to the middle, or go to the middle, and then maybe move it somewhere that like looks cool so it has a little bit of movement. And then I'm going to go all the way to the end, or the frame right before the last one so you can see it, and then go to negative a little bit and just give it some stretch like that. And then open up the scale wipe and maybe move the keyframe back down for the center down to here so it has a little bit of movement. And then I'm going to make sure I move it to the last frame, highlight all of them, click F9, and we can see what we have here. It's kind of a cool transition. It has like a little bit of a bounce. You can play with the graph editor, make it look a little smoother. It's kind of a quick clip, so it looks a little bit choppy, but I think it looks pretty cool. Some other things you can do to each layer is you can do the opposite. You could actually take the scale wipe, copy it, and then I'm just going to turn it off this layer just so you don't see it right now. Just unenable it, and I'm gonna paste it onto the car layer, and you can see it has a little bit of that effect. Maybe you'd have to tweak around some of the center points, but you can use the same concept on the layer of the rotoscoped out subjects is basically the point I'm getting to. So I would go to like the first and maybe just play around with what looks cool. Maybe that looks cool at the start. And you can see it kind of whips down, and then you can see it doesn't really do it quite as much here because it's going to be dragging from the center point. So I'm just going to drag it up a bit, maybe to right there, and that looks pretty cool. It has a little bit of a droop paint effect, and then we can drag these to the last frame again just to make sure. Now, I think I like that one a little bit more actually. It's all personal preference obviously, and you could even turn them both on at the same time. Kind of a cool look. It's going to do roughly the same thing anyways. It's not going to be much different. Maybe if you inversed them, if you like brought this keyframe here, so it's doing the opposite, would maybe that look cool? I don't know. I'm just freestyling all these effects right now, just playing around with what would look cool. You can see it has a stretch effect here. I think I'm a fan of actually just the rotoscoped out subjects though. But like I said, just play around with it, make it your own effect, and do something cool with it. And then I'm just gonna go over one last one maybe. I noticed there was this like FPV drone that had like a lot of movement. That looked pretty cool. So I'm just gonna find that clip. And then I'll show you how to use it kind of as a transition here. What I'm going to do is find two clips together that I think look cool. And what we can do is split it here because that's the first frame in that clip. Goes to the FPV drone clip. So then I'm going to go to the last frame there. And then it's two clips together. Depending on how you bring it into After Effects, if you wanted to do an After Effects composition, you could actually just highlight both the clips and right click them and bring them into After Effects using After Effects composition. And then that would bring them together in like the same clip. Or if you're just editing just in After Effects, you don't have to worry about that. But then I'm going to go ahead, make it 0 again, the frame right where it ticks over to the next clip, and it's right there. So I'm going to keyframe the center and stretch right there and find a cool spot to do it. I think right there looks pretty cool. And then I'm going to go to start and maybe make the stretch 0. Also, always just open up the keyframes while you're working just so it makes more sense to you. You can see you get that kind of stretch effect. I'm even going to go into the third clip here with this car because it just like looks cool to me. So I'm going to make it a little bit longer and then keyframe the center because you keyframed it here at the middle, and then click somewhere that looks cool, maybe right in front of the car. And then I'm just going to go to each clip and just move the position of the center just so it makes sense and looks cool. For this clip, I'm going to make it right at the center of the rock. Then for this clip, I think the car looks pretty cool. So I'm actually not even gonna have it in frame until it gets to the bottom of the car right here. And then I'm gonna move it right there. So it starts affecting the car, the rock, and then the road. So you can see how that's a pretty simple transition that like seamlessly moves 3 clips together. Obviously, when you're editing the clip, you can choose what clips go where. So that's pretty cool. And you can make some cool transitions like this. And then I just added one more keyframe to make it make a little bit more sense. Obviously, tweak as many keyframes as you want. You can even keyframe in the stretch depending on each clip. I think it looks pretty cool like this. And yeah. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for you guys in this one. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend about the channel, follow me on all social medias. If you want to support the channel even more, you can go over to briandelmata.com, check out my texture pack and my thermal pack. There's going to be more digital products there soon. Appreciate each and every one of you guys for making it all the way to the end. Really does mean a lot. But yeah, guys, peace.